Before we start this video, a large thank you to Edward Cullen, Santiago, and Richard for their support on Patreon. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And of course, an immense thank you to Halo Burner for their continued support of the channel this month on Patreon. It is sincerely and greatly appreciated, my friend, and I hope you enjoy the video. Hello everybody, so today we're going to finish up our menu. So let's make it so we actually close the menu because right now we cannot. And then we're going to create 3 different ways of opening this menu. So over here on the player UI manager, all we got to do is create a variable for this up top, hide an inspector, public player UI weapon upgrade manager, and then call it on awake and add it to our close all menu windows. So basically we're going to make it so we can open a menu from the UI just by pressing start. We're going to make it so we can open it from an interactable like an Anvil, and we're going to make it so we can open it at the end of a dialogue chain, so as an end event. So this should pretty much cover anybody's needs who's watching this, just in case someone wanted it from an Anvil or someone wanted it from a menu, everything will be covered. So under close all menu windows, I'm just going to say player UI weapon upgrade manager dot close menu after fixed frame. Very good, save. Now I'm going to go over to the project and I'm going to look for the player UI manager. I'm going to open that prefab up. I'm going to go to scene view here now, and I am going to just go to the character menu manager and toggle the menu so I can see what I'm doing. And all I'm going to do is duplicate one of our buttons. These should be prefabs, by the way, just in case you want to change one button later and change them all. I didn't make it a prefab because programmer UI, this is not permanent, etc. But if you're making a UI, you really should make all of these to a prefab, so changing one will change everything. Now, I'm going to call it weapon upgrade window, and I'm going to change the text here to upgrade weapon window. And all we're going to do is change the on click event, because if I duplicated a window, it will be the previous window. We're going to change it to the weapon upgrade manager open window, or sorry, open menu. Now I'm going to untoggle the menu object and save the prefab so it was as it was before. Go into the game. I'm going to load into a profile very quickly, and then I'm going to make sure this works. So down into my character. Gonna pause. Now I will press start, upgrade, weapon, and boom, there it is. Alright, cool. Working as intended, and closing it will open back up the HUD. Alright, so that's the easiest way to open up your weapon upgrade window. What is another way? First, let's remove the select button on enabled so we don't select that instead of our equipment window as our first. That came because I duplicated the equipment window button. Now, I'm going to drag in this Anvil object into my world. So this is just the model of an Anvil, and I'm going to use this as my interactable. So I will open up the world scene and drag in all my subscenes, or if you'd prefer just the scene that you know it's going in, I'm just going to drag in there because I haven't decided where I want to put it yet. I'm going to go, okay, my neutral knight is right here. I'm just going to throw it right next to the site of grace just so I can spawn in and easily test it. So going to go now and grab my model of an Anvil, or whatever you want to use, just throw it into the scene. And then I am just going to place it wherever I want the interaction to be. And now I'm going to add a script to it, and I'm going to call this, what have I called the rest? So we got dialogue interactable, I'll call this Anvil interactable. Fun fact, by the way, if you use an Anvil within a blacksmith in Elden Ring, I believe you can only upgrade your weapon 2 times, and then it stops you. And to upgrade it further, you need to find a blacksmith. So I'm not going to do that. We're just going to make it an actual interactable to open the menu. But if that's something you want me to do in the future, let me know. So over here in interact, what are we going to do? Well, we want to override our interact method because we're going to change one thing about it. I've erased the debug.log message, by the way. I'm just going to get rid of that right now. We don't need that there anymore. But for now, actually, I will just copy and paste this. But we're just going to call base.interact for now on the Anvil. But I'll bring this back in a moment and explain what we're going to change. So let's just make that pass the player. And the only difference is if the player is the owner. Whoops, not player UI, local player. If the player is the owner, then open the blacksmith menu. You should need to check for this. This is just force habit. In this setup right now specifically, you don't need to check for owner, but I just do it as safety most of the time. Okay, so right below that now, let's call override on trigger exit. And what we want to do is the exact same thing, but we're also going to add in to close the blacksmith window, which is player UI weapon manager upgrade manager.close window. And save, and we should be good. Now if I go back to the project here, let's make this an interactable on the interactable layer. Let's add a collider. I'm going to add a sphere collider, set it to a trigger, drag it in the interactable collider variable, and we should be good to go. Make sure you save this as a prefab like I've done, and make sure it's on your network prefab list, because all interactables in this project are network objects and they must be on the network prefab list, or else you're going to run into some problems. Okay, very good. Let's save that. Now if I go back to the interactable script here, if I were to copy and paste all of this, which I'm going to do, what we want to do is get rid of the collider being disabled. We want to keep using the Anvil, obviously, if you walk away from it. So copy the base interact logic and paste it on your Anvil, but just simply erase the line where it says interactable collider is enabled is equal to false. This just makes it so if we leave the interactable radius and come back, we can use the Anvil again. All right, save that. Now if I go into the game, if I run up this Anvil here now and I press the interact button, boom, opens up our menu. Cool, working as intended. So now we have a way to open it from the Anvil, and we have a way to open it from the main menu. Now what if you want to open it from a dialog chain? Well, we can do that too. Let's duplicate our neutral AI dummy, or whatever kind of character you have that gives off dialogue. I'm going to rename it to blacksmith. I'm going to go to the character dialog IDs under our enums, and I'm going to add a blacksmith dialog ID. I'm going to save that. I'm going to go back to our prefab here now, and I'm going to give it the new dialog ID of blacksmith dialog, like so. Looks good. Now I am going to go to the world, or rather the enums folder file one more time. And then I'm going to copy and paste character dialog ID, and I'm going to delete everything inside of it here, and I'm just going to change this to character dialog end events, or if you prefer dialog end events, so it's a bit less wordy. So defaultly none, make sure none is first, because I'm assuming most of your dialogue will have no event after it's over. Second, I'm going to add a blacksmith. So I put none first, so the default option is always none, because now we're going to add a variable here on end triggers for these events. So serializable field, dialog end events, I'm going to call this end event, and then on dialog ended, we're just going to do a simple check. If the dialog does not equal none, the dialog end event I mean, then we're going to do a switch statement and go through them all. And then, quite simply, we're going to switch state the end event, and if it is a blacksmith event, we're just going to open the blacksmith menu, and that's literally it. So that's pretty straightforward. You can do the same thing with trading menus, shop menus, whatever. You can reuse that logic. Now let's add the blacksmith dialog by creating a list for it, like the nameless knight dialogues, and let's add the stage ID to it by creating a stage ID as well. Again, if you have a whole lot of these, might be a good idea to look in something like a dictionary, but I only have a couple, so I'm just going to keep it as it is. It's pretty straightforward. Even in Nephilim, I still use lists, honestly, because I only have like 8 characters total throughout the entire game right now that will have dialogue. So blacksmith dialogue ID, and then I have the blacksmith dialogue ID stage. So we're modifying the get character dialogue by enum, just adding the blacksmith to it. And then down here under set stage of dialogue, do the same thing. Add to the switch statement your new case for your blacksmith, and then make sure you set the IDs properly and don't set it from your other NPCs if you're copying and pasting it. And this also means you'll have to add a identification to your current character's save data. So another way to think of this is just like, you can think of this as quests too, not just individual dialogue characters, because you can do the same thing here and set like stages of a quest the exact same way, and then maybe based on the stage of a quest, certain characters load in, certain characters load out. Like there's a lot you can do with a very simple system like this. Now, down under our character save data, I'm going to copy and paste the nameless knight stage ID, and I'm going to change this to blacksmith stage ID, and we should be good. Let's save that. I'm going to go back into the project here now, duplicate a dialogue chain, change it to blacksmith dialogue 01. Got one thing of dialogue here, and the end event, most importantly, I'm going to make it so it opens the blacksmith menu. It is not going to set a stage, so this dialogue is going to repeat indefinitely. So now under the world save manager, I'm going to throw in my blacksmith dialogue 01 here, and if I load into the game, that should be it now, I think. So let's go and check it out. So start, load in, and let's go talk to him through the magic of editing, skip the loading phase. Lay out your arms. He's not playing the right dialogue, obviously, because I just copied one from the nameless knight. Yes, it does open, but you can see right now, if I were to open this again, we have a small problem. So watch. I can open this menu and then run away, and it will never close. So you could open the blacksmith and you run halfway across the world, and nothing would ever happen. So there's a very quick fix for that. Let's go to on dialogue canceled, which, in case you didn't remember, is called when you leave the interaction radius of a character you're talking to. So we can do a switch statement here, and we can do a switch statement of the end event. And if this character has an end event of the blacksmith menu, we're just going to simply call close menu instead of open menu. All right, now we can save that again, and I'm just gonna put a comment here just so it's very clear. Called when we leave the interaction radius. All right, save, go back, minimize window. And now through the magic of editing, boom, I'm back in the game. Let's go talk to this guy again, lay out your arms, and now if I were to wait for this to open and walk away, boom, menu closes. All right, cool, but we still have one small problem, check it out. The HUD is actually appearing behind the menu. Now, why is that? It's because the HUD is trying to restore when the conversation ends on the same frame the window is trying to open. There's an easy fix for this. All we can do is just basically, we already have wait frame, then close menu. So you can see close menu after fixed frame. Let's call that and change the keyword to open. And this is on the end dialog event, by the way, and this doesn't exist yet, so let's go create it. We're just basically creating the inverse of the close menu after fixed frame. We're just waiting a frame for, every action on that frame to process, and then we're going to open it. So let's go to the player UI menu. That's the base class for all menus, and we can copy and paste the logic here for close menu after fixed frame. We can copy this and paste it right below open. We can change the keyword to open. Now we can simplify this a bit more too, actually, because you can see close menu after fixed frame just copies the same logic after a frame. So we can just instead say close menu, and that makes us only running the logic one time. So we'll do the same thing here, wait then open menu. Then after a fixed frame, we call the open menu function. And then down here under wait then close menu, we can do the same thing. We can wait a frame, then call the close menu function. There's no point in writing the logic multiple times is my point, so we'll just clean the code up a little bit. All right, very good. Now before we leave though, we have to also inverse if the menu is closed, it should be if the menu is already opened, and make sure we're calling the right coroutine. So I'm going to call wait then open menu, not wait then close menu. Save that. And again, we're going to make a check here to say if the menu is already open, we're going to simply return, not if the menu is not open. Now save that and we should be good to go. So if I go into the project here and I talk to this gentleman, and of course he opens up the menu, and there we go, no HUD. Cool. All right. So there are multiple ways to arrive at that conclusion, by the way. That's just one, obviously. You could do a check on the character dialog if you're going to open a menu, don't close or rather don't bring back the HUD, etc., etc. Bunch of ways to do it. So you can see here now we can open this weapon upgrade manager by going to an Anvil, by using the menu, or by talking to a character. So I was going to cover in this video some more UI polish, but I thought about it, and I think I'm going to wait. And what I'll do is if people want to see it, I will go through all the UI in the entire project across a few episodes, and I'll show you my design philosophy, my workflow. Now keep in mind, I'm not a UI artist, definitely not my strength by any means. I did all the stuff in Anvil, which I'm pretty proud of, but I say this to say that you can probably get better information somewhere else. So for now, I'm going to move on and give you guys information on what I know I'm good at. And basically, if I don't have any suggestions, I'll just move on to what I would move on to next anyway. So thank you all very much for watching, guys. Thank you to my patrons. It is genuinely because of your support this series can't exist at all. Thank you to everybody who takes the time to tell their friends and colleagues and anybody about this series, who takes the time to like the videos and who takes the time to leave a comment. This series has grown organically and again is here because of people like yourselves. So you have my sincerest gratitude. I hope you all learned something new, and I hope you all have a very lovely weekend. I will see you next week.